You walk into a coffee shop on a Tuesday morning. Near the window sits a man who looks like the modern definition of success. Crisp button-down shirt, high-end laptop, wireless earbuds. He types nonstop, like he's running a startup. Everything about him signals financial stability. He orders a $12 coffee, no hesitation. What you don't see is his bank account. There's only enough money left to last a few days. His credit cards are maxed out. Dinner lately has been instant noodles. That one coffee wiped out his food budget for the week. Welcome to the era of the quietly broke millennial. A world where looking successful matters more than actually being secure. Where an entire generation has mastered financial theater. My name is Badger. I spend a lot of time dissecting one big question. Why did a generation do almost everything it was told to do and still end up sinking into financial quicksand? If you're tired of advice like, stop buying coffee and you'll be able to buy a house, this video looks at the real numbers. The ones that explain why millennials are struggling financially more than any generation in modern history. In just 1 year, the share of workers who feel financially insecure jumped from around 30% to nearly 50%. That's not a slow decline. That's a sudden drop. And here's the part that doesn't make sense. This is happening during what many reports still call a strong economy. Clearly, something is broken. In this video, we're going to do 3 things. First, we'll break down 3 major economic shifts that turned the financial game against millennials. Second, we'll look at the data. Not opinions, not vibes, data. To show this isn't reckless spending, it's systemic entrapment. And third, we'll explain why even people earning 6 figures are still living paycheck to paycheck. Let's be clear from the start. This is not a story about discipline. It's not about budgeting apps. This is the result of deep structural changes in the economy. The rules changed, but no one told young people they were playing a different game. Millennials were taught a simple formula. Go to college, get a degree, find a stable job. Everything will work out. They followed the instructions, but when they climbed the economic ladder, they discovered several rungs were missing. Let's start with housing. First-time homebuyers have dropped sharply over the last 2 decades. Today, the median home price is nearly 6 times the median household income. A few decades ago, that number was closer to 4 times. Earlier generations bought homes when prices made sense relative to income. Millennials face higher prices, higher interest rates, and massive debt, all at the same time. When home ownership feels impossible, financial behavior changes. Saving for a down payment feels pointless when the goal keeps moving farther away. That's where doom spending comes from. Spending now because the future feels unreachable. This isn't ignorance. It's a rational psychological response to an irrational system. Next comes student debt. Tens of millions of young adults carry massive education loans. Balance is high enough to delay every major life decision. It's not just the monthly payment, it's the ripple effect. Buying a home, starting a family, launching a business, having children, all postponed. What was sold as an investment in the future has become one of the biggest obstacles to that future. At the same time, the labor market became more unstable. Short-term contracts, freelance work, gig economy jobs. Flexibility sounds nice, but it comes with unpredictable income and no safety net. When your income changes every month, long-term planning becomes nearly impossible. Even those who climb the traditional career ladder don't feel safe anymore. More and more people earning over $100,000 a year say they're just getting by. Housing, healthcare, childcare, education, transportation. What used to be a middle-class life now feels like a luxury. This creates a very specific kind of stress. You earn too much to qualify for help, but not enough to move forward. You're struggling, but not poor enough for anyone to notice. So you struggle in silence. The psychological toll is massive. When your brain stays in survival mode, long-term thinking shuts down. Financial stress leads to bad financial decisions. Those decisions create more stress, and the cycle repeats. So intense that many young people accept housing conditions previous generations would never tolerate just to escape renting. This isn't entitlement, it's desperation. Meanwhile, the generational wealth gap keeps growing. Most wealth sits with people who bought assets decades ago. Millennials aren't just competing with each other, they're competing with time itself. And here's the irony. Many are building their own futures while financially supporting parents who weren't prepared for retirement. The burden that once came later in life has been squeezed into the same decade. All of this leads to one conclusion. The quietly broke millennial is not a personal failure. It's a symptom of a system that no longer works the way it used to, but still demands old expectations. We're watching an outdated model collapse without a replacement ready. And if there's one takeaway, it's this. Millennials aren't failing because they're lazy. They're struggling because the rules changed. And until that reality is honestly acknowledged, this won't go away. It will spread to every generation that comes next.